What up, you guys? So on today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about what it's been like to live with the Kawasaki Versys 650 for just about 2 years now. If you're interested in that honest owner's review, just stick with me. We're going to get into that right now. Two whole years. Man, I feel like it's like gone by like so quickly. 2 years is a really long time for me to keep a motorcycle, and I did it with this one. And I think, like, while I may have thought about wanting other bikes along the way, I never once considered selling this bike, which makes me truly think I made the right decision. And that's just a really good feeling when you find that thing that's just right for you. Woo! So over the last 2 years, there have been a couple little like hiccups in the ownership, but none of them were that major. The only one that I would consider major is when my radiator went kaput. It sprung a leak in the front, and I will have you know that this bike takes a $750 radiator, which is a massive investment. But according to the dealership that, they're not really a dealership, they're just like a repair shop. According to the repair shop that did the repair, they said that the radiator that was in it was the one from the factory. So it lasted 10 years. And then, well, not quite 10 years. It is, yeah, it lasted 10 years, exactly 10 years, because it busted in 2019. This is a 2009. So getting 10 years out of your radiator ain't bad. Hopefully I get another 10 years out of this next one. Besides that, the only repairs that I've had to do were routine maintenance, and the fork seals went one time. But just knowing how I ride this bike, how hard of a life it has, having to change the fork seals once isn't that bad. I've been in several situations that could blow your fork seals. The fact that they survived all of my abuse, and I just had to, and it wasn't even both, only one of them started leaking. After 2 years of me jumping it off curbs and up curbs and going off-road and dropping it in rivers and ditches and all kinds of stuff, that ain't bad at all. So obviously mine is very far from stock. I have changed a lot of things on it, but none of them were really required. Besides, for me personally and my riding style, I think I had to add the skid plate. I got the SW Motec skid plate, and I couldn't be happier with it. It's been super durable, and the install was buttery easy. And the Sergeant seat, I had to do the seat because from the factory, this bike has a 33-inch seat height. I have a 32-inch inseam, and I like flat-footing my bikes. I know you can tiptoe it, I know you can lean it over to one side, but I like standing on both feet and flat-footing my bikes. That's just how I feel comfortable. So I went ahead and went with the Sergeant seat that drops the bike 1 inch, so now I can perfectly flat-foot both sides. And those were the only mods I think I had to do. All the other mods were just like things that I wanted. Like I want the Two Brothers exhaust because I wanted the bike to be louder. I wanted a little bit more power. I needed some sounds. I went with the new gas cap because I was tired of putting a key in the gas cap. I just want to unscrew my gas cap. I don't know if you can see that, but I went with the Vortex gas cap, and I love it. So a lot of it was just like cosmetic stuff or things to just make my life a little easier. And those, whoa, that person just went around all the traffic and ran that light. Did you guys see that? Holy shit balls. Atlanta, you wild, man. They didn't give a damn. They went in the turn lane and then cut the red light. Wow. But yeah, as far as like really good pros to this bike, there are so many. It has handled everything I've thrown at it, whether it's just commuting to work, whether it's 800-mile day, whether it's off-roading. It definitely meets its match off-roading. Just some of that is based on my abilities. I'm not great off-road. A more competent off-road rider could probably go a lot harder off-road with this bike than I can. But for my skill level, it has been perfect. I haven't gotten stuck permanently at all. Every situation I've gotten myself into, this bike has gotten me out of without any help. I've done long stretches down the highway, and I'll say that honestly, about 4 hours is when even the Sergeant seat starts to kind of make the butt burn a little bit. It's like about the time where I'm like, all right, I need to walk around a little bit. The bike has a 5-gallon gas tank just about, so gas stops aren't very frequent, but they're always very welcomed. Like when it's time to get gas, I'm pretty excited to stand up and stretch my legs and get my butt off the seat for a second. The riding position overall is really good for me though. At 5'11", I'm 5'11", about 190 pounds. Factory suspension has been great. Factory riding position has been good. I don't get that like weird, like my knees are too high, like hip cramp that some bikes will give you. The bar height is tolerable. When I say I want to raise the bar, that's honestly me nitpicking, because it is pretty solid. For me, this is a pretty good like angle that my arms are at. There's no pressure on the wrist whatsoever, but they're just high enough to where I'm like still sitting upright, just low enough where it feels sporty and I can like flick it when I need to. I have done some pretty good canyon carving on it, lots of mountain roads on the bike, and it handles it well. I'm running the tires off of the Ducati Scrambler. They're the Pirelli MT whatever, I don't know, the ones that look like square knobbies, and they are still remarkably grippy in the in the twisties. Like, I am never lacking for traction. As I said, mine is a 2009. It does not have ABS, and I prefer it that way. It's kind of like safeties on a firearm. I like to believe that the safety on a gun is your finger. You want to be safe, you keep it off the trigger. I kind of feel the same way about ABS. I would like that, like traction control and ABS. I think those are both in your foot and your wrist. Personally, I want to be like, maybe in like a panic situation it'd be cool to have, but I want to be like so aware that I'm like on it. I want to have that ability to get all sideways in the dirt if I'm riding off-road. That's just me though. Like, if you like ABS, cool, have at it, but I don't. I'd like to avoid it. I think just like a good disc brake on both sides is good for me. I definitely had bikes with disc brake or with drum brakes on the rear, and that was pretty shitty. It got way too locky, slidey. I don't know. It was bad. So just having disc brakes on both sides works amazing for me. It is the perfect balance. So ABS, meh, I don't miss it. I added this Puig, however you say that, Puig, that company, tinted windscreen. It was a completely aesthetic choice. I just wanted it to be black, honestly. It is slightly bigger, and I will say that was a nice little mod for not very much money. Putting it all the way up like it is now, the airs hit me like at the very top of my helmet. The factory one at the highest setting will kind of throw it in my visor. I'm not necessarily a guy that really cares about wind protection that much. I understand that it like helps relieve some of the, like, I don't know, stress that's on the body on the highway, but I haven't really been bothered too much. I've ridden naked bikes on the highway for a long time, and I didn't really complain too much. It's not really doing much for you in the rain, like no tiny little motorcycle windscreen is, so I'm not too concerned with it. In the dead of winter, I had some handguards on there, and they were cool. They were like some Barkbuster handguards. They were cool for keeping the wind off, but then eventually I started rocking my heated gloves, and meh, don't need them. I've been laying off on the off-roading lately. Honestly, it's because I'm tired of cleaning the bike. I'm tired of it being completely covered in mud, so I haven't been doing too much off-roading lately, so I took the handguards off. I have another bike purchase in the works. It's going to be in the winter. I'm going to do this, and I will just say that the handguards are going to end up on that bike, so they're just kind of sitting there waiting. I have this whole build idea that's going to be kind of cool. We're going to do like a little build series per se. That's going to happen in December, just because I'm going to be bored, and I want to like kind of treat myself for Christmas with this bike purchase. So a lot of the ADV parts that are coming off of this bike are going to end up on that bike. I'll just say that. The fuel economy on this, I've been doing like 45-ish, I believe. It's been pretty good. It'll drop to 40 sometimes when I'm just like really going at it, revving it out, letting that Two Brothers exhaust sing. Maintenance is like nothing, honestly. I'll do my oil changes and my chain adjustments. I've been doing oil changes every 2,000 miles. I try to do the chain adjustments every 500 miles, if I remember. But that's it. Check the tire pressure. I think pretty soon I'm going to do brakes. they're still got some life left in them, but I guess I just feel like tinkering for once in my life. I personally hate wrenching on motorcycles, but I feel like doing something, so I'll probably put some new brake pads on there, front and rear, might as well. But it's been pretty chill, like no complaints at all. If there's any mod I wish I would have done and may still do, it would be steel braided lines, just so I can get a little bit more brake feel. I still do not want ABS, let me drive that point home, but a little bit more brake feel wouldn't hurt. But honestly, you guys, the last 2 years have been really trouble-free. They've been really pleasant. Like I told you, I've gone on 4 kind of big trips. I've done countless commutes. I've done countless like little jaunts off-road. Bunch of hooligan rides that you've seen, like me jumping off curbs, riding through playgrounds and whatnot. And the bike is just taking it and taking it and taking it. For what I paid for it, this bike had a $3,500 ticket price used. I don't think there's a better value out there for the do-everythingness of this motorcycle combined with the price tag. If you're looking for that kind of do-everything machine and you're not like really short, like, because I personally think the bike is kind of tall, I say go for it, man. It's a great motorcycle that you will not regret owning. And if you live in the Atlanta area, let's hit it up. Let's go riding together, man. If you got a Versys, I'm trying to see yours. I'm trying to ride your bike too. I'll let you ride mine. Let's see what's up. But honestly, I think I'm gonna like stick to my original plan. This bike has about 11,500 miles on it, which means I have personally put 10,000 miles on it ish myself. I bought it with about 1,000 miles on it. Yeah, like 10 years old, 1,000 miles on it, $3,500. Let me drive that point home. Great deal. But my plan is to ride it till it gets about 100,000 miles on it, like really just make it all the way clapped out. And honestly, based on how happy I am with it, I might just buy a new one. However long that takes, I'll buy another old Versys. It'll be the new generation. I'll give that one a whirl. But I think I will probably always own a Versys, whether it's this one or a new one. If something happened to this one, like if it got stolen tomorrow, I honestly think I would just go ahead and buy another one. Maybe I'd buy like a black one or something, but like I'm committed to this motorcycle. I like it a lot. But if I didn't cover something that you were curious about, just go ahead and sound off in the comments, ask your questions. I will reply to every single one of you personally, I promise. If you have any comments or concerns, you can also leave them down there. If you enjoyed this little video, please hit thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. I appreciate that greatly. And the last thing I need you to do is go out there and have a good damn day, because you deserve it. All right, y'all. Peace.